Alright, this is my really easy, really simple skill builder tutorial. So what you want to do is to get up the thing is to type /build in chat. This will enable and disable build. So I already had it enabled, so I'm just going to enable it again. It gives you a warning, this command is dangerous. If you lose your builds or skills, you're doing so at your own risk. That's just in case the server restarts. You'll get a notification when it first shows up asking if you want to autosave. Click yes unless you're playing with other people who are skill building, then click no. So to create your skill, you just go to skill builder here, and then you can create the skill name, skill cooldown, and you create the skill. Other information will be inside the skill once you create it. You load skills and save skills here. Edit mode and delete mode, you can just delete and edit skills at your own will. You can also see a bunch of other stuff on this side thing, which you can just ignore if you want to. Saves menu currently does nothing, and character menu is where you create styles. This lists all the styles in the game with their moves, so you can go check. Oh, I see Loki, God Sprint, God Speed Entry. Okay, those are cool moves. I want to copy those moves into my moveset. First, we're going to be creating a character, so let's say my character is called Lime Character. I'm just going to call it that, random image ID, and character color, we're going to do this kind of yellow. And then we find it here, Lime Character. These are the moves and flow moves, and also the flow color, what's this? Flow time, and then like all the other stuff, the image, the image ID, you know, the wait for animation. Flow currently does not work, but that might be fixed as the time of uploading this, I'm not sure. You can save changes to save the changes. Yeah, so also another thing about the characters is to save characters you type save style, and to load one you type load style in chat, but that also might become a menu in the future, so just check that out when the update comes out, I guess. Yes, so I'm going to create a move real quick. I'm going to call it test move, and I'm going to add the cooldown to just 1 because I want to test it. Test move, and then we've got all these different blocks. I'll just explain them one by one. Ragdoll, it ragdolls you. You can select a target and it'll ragdoll the targets, you or others, targets, etc. Enable the ragdoll or disable it, and then the reason for ragdolling. If you ragdoll again and change the reason, then it will check and it'll be like, wait, this player isn't ragdolled by that anymore, so I shouldn't unragdoll them for this if they're being ragdolled by something else. So if you add 2 of them, that's fine. Velocity. So this is just velocity. Forward weight is 100% of 50. So that's 50. If I add it to 0.5, that's 50% of 50, which is 25. So we just do that. And then lifetime is how long it lasts. But I recommend just doing a wait and then clicking false to disable the force on force enabled. And then the target, you can add it to all others. There isn't currently a targets option, which is quite sad. Then we got targets. This is the target block. It spawns a hitbox around you, and anyone in it will be picked up as a target. You will be able to use the targets option in other nodes. So the transparency of the hitbox in case you want to test it, and the size X, Y, the duration, offset, etc. Then we've got unstun, which is obviously self-explanatory. It just unstuns the character. As you can see, targets here, that's what you can select from this target node, which gets the targets, and then this, it uses the targets in the block. So this would unstun anyone, and you just use this. Now, after that is end. It basically just ends all the code, so you don't need to worry about that. Then we have stun, which is obviously the opposite of unstun, and there's a time. I recommend keeping this as -1 unless you want custom stun. You can just change the amount of time, and then the reason is the same as ragdoll. If you stun them for another reason later, it will be like, wait, they're stunned by another reason, so I might as well not unstun them because they're stunned by something else. Okay, we've done targets and we've done stun. So now we have impulse. This is basically another version of velocity that you can't control, and it's got the X, Y, and Z coordinates. These are local relative to your character. Relative and world currently don't do anything, but that doesn't matter. Now stop animation, that stops all the current animations on the character. So you targets obviously uses this targets. So you'll see that a lot in different blocks. And then we've got go to. So it is closest enemy and closest teammate, furthest teammate, and this just it goes to whatever you select. It doesn't have targets at the moment, but it will in the future. Now we've got visual. This is pretty useful. It spawns a visual effect used from the game's library. So example, I want Kunigami shot. It will play the Kunigami shot VFX. And then you've got the visual target, which is who it plays on, targets. Some of these effects do not use the, obviously, mechanic of visual target and instead go to the ball or the person who fired it. And then we've got slow ball, which basically slows time for the ball to whatever like speed you want. So the time stop ability in my moveset slows it to 0.2. And then the if block. Basically, if a certain thing is true, for example, if I have flow, then anything inside this environment, this is a new concept, environments. Environments are these little blocks that basically you can put anything in them, and when something happens, etc., the block, so when this block runs, it will run this, anything in here. So I could put a visual in here, I can make it play if you have the flow. If you don't, then it wouldn't. And then play animation, of course. It just plays the animation. It's pretty buggy at the moment, you can't put animations, but also a coming soon feature. A lot of stuff do come soon, so you wouldn't mind that. Also, stop animation stops these animations, so that's completely fine. Then we got health. This just basically is self-explanatory. It can add, remove, or set health of anything of the target, basically. FOV just sets the FOV of what the target, so yeah. And then we've got delay, which, of course, this is another environment. You see this scrolling frame? That's an environment. So you can put your blocks in here, and after a certain delay, they will play, but they will not halt any of the things below it, unlike the wait block, which halts everything below it. And then the flow block, obviously, that's pretty simple. It adds a meter to your flow bar, or removes it, or sets it. So you can do that, gaining flow if you trap something, or etc. Then on the glow thing, we have color, which is obviously the color, and it just glows the character or the target. Grab is quite simple. It just has the simple rotation, offset, etc., and the time that they will be grabbed for, and it just attaches the target to you. So yeah. Then after image, this is just a bunch of color blocks which have a duration and a start transparency and the amount of time they fade for. Condition. This is basically condition to set stuff on the move. So I would traditionally put this at the top of the move. So I delete this, and condition. This is expecting has ball. So if they don't have the ball, the condition will stop the move from running. You can choose to fire the cooldown if the condition stops it, then you can choose to fire the cooldown. But most of the time you want to not fire the cooldown, so just this is selected by default. Now under this, invisibility, it makes the target invisible, pretty simple. Curve kick, it's just a normal kick, like for multiplier makes it go forward. Destroy time is like how long the force takes to destroy. Power is how strong it is. Up and multiplier is how much it goes up by. It could just curve across the ground if possible. Ball attach delay is how long it takes for it to attach to someone, like if they're walking into it, would it attach them or not. And then the character disable duration is just how long it's disabled for you to pick it up for the character, so that's not really important. Arc height is just the height again. Upward multiplier and arc height kind of work together on this one. Then we've got color correction, which is basically just screen glow. You can add effects to the screen if you want. This is like a color correction in Roblox Studio. If you know about lighting, you would know what this is. Then we've got sound, which it just adds a sound to the part of whatever, of the sound ID of the target. So yeah. Iframes, this is the amount of how many you can't get tackled for. Certain moves break different iframes. Some tackle moves go through like 2 iframes. Maybe you want your move to have 3 iframes so it can't get tackled, you know? Yeah, I recommend putting iframe 0 at the end of your move, using a delay block or a wait block, or a when block, because it is very much easier, and the environments are easier, but wait block is also preferred. If you don't set it to 0 at the end, then they will just be untouchable and they cannot lose the ball forever. We got ball prediction. This is basically Isugi's meta vision. It shows you where the ball is going to land. The when block. Okay, this is pretty simple. These are marker events, basically, and the marker events are for the animation marker. So when this runs, when the kick marker in the animation runs, it will obviously run this environment. But you need to put the animation name in. For example, if I had an animation called, like, let's see, let's find an animation real quick. Let's find one. Fire, my direct shot. We would want to type my direct shot in the animation name, and then obviously the event is kick, and then animation stopped obviously would fire the environment when the animation stops. So that's pretty simple. Let me see. So, and then we've got the kick, which is basically the curve kick with less important stuff. The power, the kick velocity duration. You can just play around with this. You need to have the ball for this though, so pre-warning. Then we got trap, which this is the size of the hitbox, the duration the hitbox lasts, the transparency of the hitbox, the offset of the hitbox. One shot basically controls whether it hits it once. Iframes to hit through is how many of the ball iframes it hits through. Some shots can't be blocked by traps, some can. So it doesn't really matter what you put it through. So a lot of the shots don't have iframes, so you can just trap it. That's why narrow high is so OP. And then in here is an environment. Whenever the ball is trapped, it will run this environment. Then we've got tackle. Obviously, you put this after a hitbox block, which we're coming up to. And then we've got counter. This basically attribute is the counter name, so you want to make a different name for each counter, which it runs the environment. And counter enabled or not is obviously whether they destroy or not. And then the duration is how long it lasts. Then wait block, quite simple, it just waits and then runs the other blocks after that amount of time. State block, it sets the character's state, so we've got all of these, can't interact with the ball, obviously, yeah. Teleport block, this is very simple, position and stuff, and yeah. Camera shake, it just camera shakes. It's got a lot of options here. You can do it to the targets or everyone or yourself. Hitbox, this works with tackle. It might get deprecated soon, so you won't have to use it with tackle. But tackle, you put the tackle after this and then set the hitbox name to the same as this. Deflect is the same as trap. If you hit the ball in here, in this hitbox, then it will run the environment, and also it works the same as trap plus kick, so it deflects the ball away. Repeat repeats the entire thing like multiple times, so for example 3 times or whatever. The environment is run 3 times, so I delete both of these. Impact frame, it's quite simple. That's the amount of impact frames. It adds like a black and white in order. The timing is the amount of time between each impact frame, and then you can just choose who has the impact frame. And then last but not least, the give ball, which targets others, or it just gives the ball to whoever you choose. So that is everything, and once you're done, I'll just explain these. So this brings the block down, this brings the block up, this destroys the block that you're selecting, and this clones the block that you're selecting. Export exports the block so it saves. You need to click this so it saves and updates. Also this is the cooldown. You can change the cooldown in the move. export, and then to get out of this, obviously if you want to get out, you just click skill builder and then unclick skill builder. And then you can see your move and you can click on it and use it anytime you want. Going back to the styles, you can use it in styles if you want. So you could put it in Lime character, you could put whatever the move name is. It has to be exactly the move name though. And you can also put it in other styles. For example, if I want Isugi to have this move, I'll just put it in his moveset instead. Maybe replace a move, make a better move. I don't know. But then also, you just click this to either create a character, or well, once you're on a character, you need to get out of this, so you click this. Or you could save a character as a copy, which just creates a copy of the character, which you can use in the future. Then down here, we have the part, the wedge, the truss, and the moveset block. The moveset block just sets your style. The ball block just gives you the ball, as you can see. And then, I think that might be just it. I'm not gonna lie. I don't, yeah.
Is this what scoring's like? Thank you, Limo. I'm full.